Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warns the Islamic Republic of Iran by emphasizing Israel's military resolve in protecting itself from anyone who would consider attacking the Jewish state. U.S. Republican presidential candidate Mike Huckabee condemns the nuclear agreement with Iran, stressing the deal has not accomplished anything other than empowering a rogue nation. Russia and Iran warn the fate of Syrian President Bashar Assad cannot be decided by outside players, with Moscow saying it would oppose any pre-negotiated exit of the Syrian president. Following remarks made by Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, as well as the Islamic Republic's top diplomat Mohammad Javad Zarif, in which they proclaimed their support to anyone who would fight the Jewish state, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon and IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Gadi Eisenkot, held a regional assessment at the IDF's Northern Command headquarters, during which the Israeli leader emphasized the military's resolve in protecting itself from anyone who would consider attacking the Jewish state.
שליט איראן חמינאי אמר אתמול, אני מצטט, ננקוט בכל האמצעים כדי לתמוך בכל מי שנלחם בישראל. שר החוץ של איראן, זריף, אמר לפני ימים אחדים בביירות, בפגישה עם ראש חיזבאללה, חסן נסראללה, אני מצטט, הסכם הגרעין יצר הזדמנות היסטורית לעמידה מול הישות הציונית. אמר, מה שאמרנו כל הזמן מתברר כנכון ומדויק. הכסף שיזרום לאיראן בעקבות הסכם הגרעין ישמש אותה לחיזוק ארגוני הטרור שפועלים נגדנו בשמה ובחסותה במטרה מוצהרת להשמיד את ישראל. אני כאן היום בפיקוד הצפון יחד עם שר הביטחון, עם הרמטכ"ל, עם אלוף הפיקוד ומפקדים בשטח כדי לעמוד מקרוב על ההיערכות של צה"ל מול האיומים הללו. אני חייב להגיד שהתרשמתי לחיוב הן מההיערכות של צה"ל והן מנחישות המפקדים והחיילים. צה"ל צבא חזק, מדינת ישראל חזקה, אנו ערוכים לכל תרחיש. מי שינסה לפגוע בנו, אנחנו נפגע בו.
Now to a related matter, United States Republican presidential candidate Mike Huckabee condemned the nuclear agreement with the Islamic Republic during a visit to Israel, stressing the deal has not accomplished anything other than empowering a rogue nation.
To say backtrack, I would simply, from the very beginning of my presidency, make it very clear that this deal is an unacceptable deal for a peaceful future, not just for the United States or Israel, but for really all the world. This does not accomplish anything other than empowering a rogue nation, a nation that has shown consistently its intention to wipe other nations, including America, right off of the map.
Huckabee, a devout Christian, is one of more than a dozen candidates vying for the Republican presidential nomination. He started his Middle East tour on Tuesday at the West Bank settlement of Shiloh, where he reiterated his unwavering support for the Jewish state. The former Arkansas governor also commented on an impending weapons deal between Moscow and Tehran, which, according to the presidential hopeful, shows Iran's true intentions.
And it would be an extraordinary amount of money, especially if a government had no honorable intentions of spending it in a way that actually helped people who are poor or who are sick or who are hungry, but rather whose first major action was to purchase new weapon systems and delivery systems from the Russian government. This again is just a reminder that this is not a regime whose intentions are to become a partner to peace. This is a regime whose intentions have for 36 years to be a force of terror in the Middle East and throughout the world.
According to Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov, Moscow and Tehran have reached an agreement over delivery of the S-300 long-range surface-to-air missile systems, which Russia will supply to the Islamic Republic later this year. Now to a new report on the matter of the Iranian nuclear program. An arrangement reached between the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, and Iran allows the Islamic Republic to utilize its own nuclear experts to monitor its program, rather than have the UN nuclear watchdog's nuclear experts monitor the Iranian facilities. In response to the report, the U.S. State Department said in a statement that it is confident in the negotiated agreement with the Islamic Republic.
We're confident in the agency's technical plans for investigating the possible military dimensions of Iran's former program, issues that in some cases date back more than a decade. Just as importantly, the IAEA is comfortable with arrangements which are unique to the agency's investigation of Iran's historical activities. When it comes to monitoring Iran's behavior going forward, the IAEA has separately developed the most robust inspection regime ever peacefully negotiated to ensure Iran's current program remains exclusively peaceful. But I can tell you that Secretary Kerry remains fully confident that the IAEA will manage their part of these requirements just as ably and efficiently as they do anywhere else in the world.
The IAEA usually conducts such monitoring inspections itself, but an agreement called the Parchin Deal, named after the Parchin nuclear site, is a separate agreement between Iran and the IAEA and was not negotiated by the world powers that negotiated the nuclear agreement. The Vienna Agreement, which was reached on the 14th of July, gives Tehran some relief from economic sanctions in return for strict limits on a nuclear program that the West has suspected was aimed at developing nuclear weapons, and allegations the Islamic Republic long denies. Now in other news, Russia and Iran warned that the fate of Syrian President Bashar Assad cannot be decided by outside players, with Moscow saying it would oppose any pre-negotiated exit of the Syrian president as part of a peace agreement. Speaking at the joint press conference, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and his Iranian counterpart, Minister Muhammad Javad Zarif, reiterated their backing for Assad in the conflict that, according to the United Nations, has claimed the lives of more than 220,000 people. Recent high-level diplomacy between regional and global players in the Syrian crisis has so far failed to overcome one of the key points of contention: the future of President Assad, whom Syrian opposition groups, Arab Gulf states, and the West demand he steps down.
У нас есть расхождение, в том числе в отношении того, как решать судьбу нынешнего действующего легитимного президента Сирийской Арабской Республики. Если некоторые из наших партнеров считают, что обязательно нужно договориться заранее, что в конце переходного периода президент уйдет со своего поста, то России эта позиция неприемлема, о чем мы прямо говорим.
کشور مواضع مشترکی در مورد بحران سوریه داشتن و اصولش رو ما با هم کاملا موافقیم که این مردم سوریه باید باشند که در مورد آیندهشون تصمیم بگیرن و کشورهای خارجی فقط باید تسهیل بکنند گفتگو و تصمیم گیری مردم سوریه رو، نه اینکه برای مردم سوریه پیش شرط قرار بدن.
Russia wants to host another round of talks between various Syrian opposition groups with an eye to eventually bringing them together with Damascus delegates for talks under auspices of the United Nations. The United States, however, together with Saudi Arabia and their Sunni Muslim allies, say that Assad is part of the problem, not the solution, and is at least partly responsible for the Islamic State's gains on the ground. Currently, there are 6 major groups operating in Syria, including the Syrian army, still loyal to President Bashar Assad, Assad's Lebanese ally Hezbollah, the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant, the Al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front, the Army of Islam, believed to be funded by Saudi Arabia, and the weakest of the 6, the Free Syrian Army. Thank you for watching us. Please keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Jonathan Hessen of Erev Tov, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.